MCIOA, the Minnesota Common Interest Ownership Act, or 515B, a very, very important topic that applies to most associations that is important for you to understand and have some background on. So what is MCIOA? MCIOA, it's a set of state statutes that sets a framework for how an association is governed and the requirements for how it needs to operate. Now, who does it apply to is the first important piece of MCIOA. It applies to all associations built after June 1st of 1994. That's when the act was passed. It applies to all condominiums. In fact, MCIOA is actually an update to what's called the Minnesota Condominium Act from 1980. So it applies to all condos regardless of when they were built. And then MCIOA applies to all townhomes built after June 1st of 1994. Now, it also applies to any association that might have updated their governing documents. So if you're a townhome built in the 70s and the 80s, it doesn't apply to you unless you updated your governing documents and opted in to MCIOA. Now, you'll see it regardless of the type of association or when you were built. If you look at your governing documents, you'll know if you're under MCIOA just by the fact that 515B is oftentimes referenced throughout your governing documents. So that's what it is, and that's who it applies to. But what are the advantages to MCIOA? Well, first and foremost, it gives you as an association now statutory authority, right? It just further enhances your ability to govern, gives you a little bit more teeth. The other advantage is it creates a little bit more readability and continuity in language. Now, depending on how old your association is, some of those documents are really tough to read. You know, sometimes you have to be a lawyer just to understand a 1970s document. If you can't sleep, I highly recommend you just put it by your nightside table. It will knock you right out. But in MCIOA, it just gives those documents a little bit more readability and clarity. Now, it empowers the board to create policies, to create budgets, to levy assessments. Now, you might assume that you already had those powers, and you do by your governing documents, but now you have statutory authority as a board to do those important things. I want to give you some examples, some specific examples of what MCIOA does, what it helps you with. When it comes to attorney fees, for example, let's say you have a member of the association that's challenging the board and it created the association to incur legal fees, to seek legal opinions. Well, the association can now bill that expense back to that homeowner that caused it to incur those fees. And talking about fees, let's talk about maintenance. Now, most governing documents are very, very vague and gray when it comes to the maintenance responsibilities. What the homeowner is responsible for versus what the association is responsible for when it comes to maintenance. If your governing documents are gray, MCIOA's language will definitely help kind of underline and help you understand and decipher that. And about those costs. So MCIOA, another specific example, allows you as an association to bill back any maintenance expense that maybe only one or a small group of homeowners benefited from. So the association might be responsible for painting doors, but if they're not doing it for 10 years, but the homeowner is demanding they do it, sure, we'll do it, but we're just going to bill you back the cost instead of treating it as a common expense. Another way that MCIOA affects associations is now an association has all sorts of reserve requirements. So you'll read those throughout MCIOA. And another last example would be insurance requirements. Your governing documents might say you have to have some sort of insurance policy, but MCIOA takes it a step further to say you actually need to have an insurance policy that guarantees the full replacement of the structures or structure of the association. So those are just some examples in some ways about how MCIOA is an advantage to an association. Now, MCIOA is very comprehensive. There's a lot of pieces to it. So if you go to the website of the state of Minnesota, you can go through and navigate MCIOA. You can see, you can click on any statutory number, whether you want to look at board issues, you want to look at meetings, you want to look at insurance. Very easy to navigate the website and really dive into whatever that particular topic is. Now, the last thing to talk about MCIOA and to make sure that you understand is that MCIOA is not designed to override your governing documents. In fact, MCIOA actually is designed to enhance your governing documents. In 1994, when the state legislators passed this, they knew that each association is very unique, and the governing documents of that association were written to be unique and to fit that particular community. So if you look at MCIOA, most sections actually start with a preface of, except as the declaration might otherwise provide. So it's further enhancing. So don't think that it overrides your specific governing documents. So again, just to summarize, what does MCIOA do? It fills gaps where your documents might be silent. It brings clarity to where your documents might be gray, and it just further enhances your statutory authority now as a board and as an association. Hopefully you found this helpful on MCIOA. Lots of other videos at sharpermanagement.com on MCIOA and all sorts of other topics. Check them out. Thanks for watching.